Hello, welcome back to Jesus Jamie the Journey. This is the second part of There's Peace in Change. When I was at the Shark Club, I was sitting there writing, and I never even thought about it. I'm always used to just talking to God. And as I was writing, a white light shined on me, and I just happened to look up and say, "Thanks, Lord, I needed the light." And I went back to writing. And after a few seconds, there was like total silence in this huge club. And I didn't know what was happening, so I looked up and I saw this woman, this black lady on the third stage at the Shark Club, and she went like this from me to the floor. And I looked around and nobody was moving, and she started to sing, and I just got up and I started following all the way out to the dance floor, and nobody was around. Everybody was just watching. There was like 100 witnesses. I was writing, it was around midnight, and all of a sudden these white lights were shining on me. I thought nothing of it. I just looked up and said, "Thanks, God, I needed the light." I went back to writing. Then in the space of about 5 minutes, there was total silence. I looked up toward the stage, which had 3 levels, and there was this woman standing on the third part, and she was looking right at me. She smiled, I smiled back. I looked around the room, wondering what was happening, and then I looked back at the lady. She smiled again. The lights were moving along the floor, and there was an air of waiting, of expectation, of excitement. I felt it in the pit of my belly and the thumping of my heart. The next time I looked at her, that was when she took her left hand and swept it from me to the floor. It was all happening as in slow motion, as it was choreographed. Not knowing why, I stood up and started to glide to the floor. The music started to play, and when I started to move, it was as if it had been rehearsed. Then she started to sing and sway. I only saw the floor, and I knew something was going to happen to change me again. No one moved, only I. I was dancing just like I always had, and all of a sudden, it changed. It went from fast to jerky to just floating on a cloud. I was gliding across the floor as if I was floating on a cloud. I started to cry, crying and praising God. The only words I heard were, "And they're for you too. If you need a way out, and if you need an escape, let me help you do it with love." And that came from Jesus Christ in my spirit while I was on the floor. My throat tightened and my emotions coming forth, and I began to feel freedom. There was a release in my being, in my heart, and my mind, and my body.